My Line? Brought to you by Kellogg's Cereals. The best to you each morning from Kellogg's of Battle Creek. And now let's all play What's My Line? And now from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the delightful star of stage and television, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now a very talented young man who is with his beautiful wife, Jane, absolutely wowing them at the Thunderbird in Las Vegas, Mr. Steve Allen.
Thank you very much, Arlene. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to introduce a young lady who has just hurried in from the country where she's been working on a book. I hope it's one of her own. Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, a wonderful athlete who has just won the swimming championship of Mount Kisco in his own pool, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
What Dorothy didn't tell you is that the two other contestants were respectively aged 83 and 89. Well, here is television's most lachrymose laryngologist, Mr. John Charles Daly.
And I'll bet Bennett never shed a tear over me. No, did you? Steve, it's like old home week having you back in that position.
Thank you very much, John. Somebody short must have been here last week. There's a big pillow on this chair. I just know.
Well, just throw it on the floor. We will not be short with interesting occupations, and so brace yourselves for an interesting half hour in the midst of the summer heat. And we will also have a famous mystery guest before my friends on the panel a little bit later in the program. We'll meet our first challenger after this. And now to meet our first contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Janelle Jernigan, right, ma'am? Miss or Miss? Miss Jernigan.
That's right.
Well, I would think we would ask you next where you're from.
Goldthwaite, Texas.
Goldthwaite, Texas.
That's right.
Is that up or down or sideways?
Right in the heart.
Right in the heart of Texas. Well, all right, then, Miss Jernigan, may I present the panel? And I think we'll tell the panel that Miss Jernigan is entering her senior year at Southern Methodist. This is an avocation, summer job, weekend job, and that kind of thing we're after, right?
Right.
Good. Will you join me over here? And we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. We will tell you that Miss Jernigan is self-employed and deals in a product, and I think we ought to begin this with Bennett, Cerf.
Miss Jernigan, do you ever have any classes with Lon Tinkle down at SMU?
Just a few, huh?
Well, that's what makes you such a pretty girl. I'd like to ask you about this product of yours now, if I may. Is this a product that can be used by human beings?
Yes.
Is it used by both sexes?
Yes.
Would you say equally by both sexes?
That would be very hard to determine, Bennett. To say exactly, we will agree that perhaps use could be generally made.
Might it also be used by children?
Yes.
Is it consumable?
Partly.
Partly. You mean that it could be partly consumed by either eating or drinking it?
Well, I would say in the long run, we might accept that that would be true, yes.
Has your product ever been alive?
Yes.
Is the product does it partly consist of some kind of an animal?
Yes.
Is it a domestic animal?
majestic animal himself over there.
Yes,
It is.
right.
You might call it a farm animal.
That's right.
Has it got 4 legs?
Yes.
Is it in either the pig or the sheep family?
No.
John looks dubious.
I am Dr. Dubious. Have to have another
Yeah.
cup.
She doesn't know.
No, she said positively not.
I'm awfully glad to hear that. That's 1 down and 9 to go.
Remember that answer.
Yes, now I've got to figure out which is it not. Not part of the pig or not part of the sheep that made them dubious. How are you, Mr. Dubious?
Doctor, please.
Is it an animal that has a coat that is useful?
Yes.
Don't they all?
Well, I don't know, but they throw some coats away, I understand. Is it furry rather than flat and short-haired?
Furry rather than hairy? You mean as
No, I mean, has it got a fluffiness about it rather than an absolutely flat, sleek?
Yes.
It does.
Right.
Isn't the lamb in the sheep family?
Certainly is.
It is. Yeah. Was the one that that John was a little dubious about, was it the sheep one, at least? Can you answer me that?
Yes.
Now, what did John think was with the sheep? Should we have a conference a minute? I'm not up
You
on
may
my
have
animal
15
husbandry.
seconds for a conference.
What's veal made of?
What?
Calf.
Real made of.
I want you to meet 4 members of the 4-H club over here. It
What
comes
is a
from little
mutton?
veals.
That's in the sheep
That's
family.
a sheep.
A mutton is a sheep.
You might be veal salad.
Can you think of any animals that you might confuse with a sheep?
Nothing I'd eat.
Unless I'm drinking, I don't.
The 15 seconds are up.
A goat.
Has it got a... It is a goat. You're associated with goats in some way.
So am I.
She's got yours.
Wow.
Do you do something yourself to these goats?
Yes.
Keep them neat and tidy?
I'm going to throw all the cards over. Raises goats.
Raises
That's
goats.
right. Actually, Miss Jernigan is a member of the American Angora Goat Breeders Association, and she raises registered Angora goats and sells their offspring, and also you have twice a year you can take the coats off, can't you?
That's right.
That Arlene was talking about, but she doesn't throw the coat away. She,
No, you use the Angora.
You use the Angora.
The mohair. Right.
Mohair.
Mohair,
That's right.
yeah.
Sometimes you get a little butter, too.
What?
Beg your pardon?
You get a little butter sometimes, too.
Well, you never get any butter. That's, oh, butter. Oh, I'm sorry. Sure.
He gets butter on his mohair, I think.
I think we better move on to something else. That's what I... Miss Jernigan, thank you very much. It was nice to have you as a guest. And now to meet our second contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Daniel? McCullough, right, sir? All right. Mr. McCullough, where are you from?
Brookville, Long Island.
Brookville, Long Island. Nice to have you with us. Mr. McCullough, may I present the panel? And will you join me over here, please? And we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. Panel, we can tell you that Mr. McCullough is salaried and deals in a service, and we'll begin things with Arlene Francis.
Mr. McCullough, do you work with your hands in your job?
Yes.
Do you use any tools or implements in your hands?
No.
That's one down. Just a second. Let me... We want to be perfectly fair.
Ho, ho, ho.
And, as always, and with Mr. McCullough's permission, which I have, we will agree that at some part of the conveyance of this service, it is likely that he might have something in his hand that he uses to achieve the end which he has set out to achieve. So you go
Well
ahead.
spoken, John.
Very good, John, yes. I don't care what it is. It was just a joy to hear you. Is this service that you give, is it especially appreciated in the summertime?
Yes.
Is there something cooling about whatever you have to do?
No.
No.
No, I would say that it would not have the purpose of cooling, so we'll give you a no. That's 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Allen.
Is it a service that can be equally enjoyed by men and women
Yes.
and children?
Yes.
Is there any kind of a product, a thing, well, a product, I'll limit it to that, involved in what you do also?
No.
Well, there is, again, with your permission, there is some material thing which is necessary to the ultimate accomplishment of the service.
But he's
which
not
he is
selling
offering.
it, I guess.
That's right.
Is the substance of which this thing is made liquid?
No.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Mr. McCullough, is there anything ever resembling an emergency around you when you do your work?
No.
Not, would be an extraordinary set of events to create an emergency. 3 down and 7 to go, Mr.
Mr.
Cerf.
McCullough, is there any form of athletic endeavor connected with what you're doing?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you work out of doors in your job?
Yes.
Is there anything at all creative in what you do?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Allen.
Are people happier after you do what you do for them?
Yes.
Happy as these people. Do you wear a uniform?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Mr. McCullough, do you ever work near water?
Yes.
Do you ever work on or near a beach?
Yes.
Is it ever possible for you to work on some conveyance that is in the water?
No.
7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Now, Mr. McCullough, you've said there's no athletic endeavor connected with what you do. Is there anything connected with food or drink in the work that you do?
No.
8 down and 2 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you move about in your job, Mr. McCullough?
Yes.
Do you, when you are moving about, are you moving anybody else about at the same time?
Yes.
Is it possible that you could push chairs on a boardwalk or do anything that would move?
That's not it.
Sorry, I said that.
9 down and 1 to go, Mr. Allen.
Do you drive something?
No.
Well, in a manner of speaking, we would, with your permission, we'll say in a manner of speaking, he drives something.
Then he controls some conveyance?
Yes.
When you get on this conveyance, do you go...
Sometimes.
Is it at an amusement park of some kind?
Yes.
Rickshaw is the suggestion
No,
from the
I
left.
think of Tunnel of Love.
Tunnel of Love on the right. A rickshaw and a tunnel of love.
A rickshaw or a tunnel of love. Now, which one? Which one?
I'd say Ferris wheel or something like that.
Not Ferris wheel, but that's close. Got to put this over, but you really got it. Carousel. You had it, Bennett. Very good. Very good. I'd like the record show we won. We got in just under the wire. Mr. McCullough won. Actually, you're out of Coney Island.
Yes.
And the family has been in the business. His grandfather invented the moving target for shooting galleries. And your dad is also with you in the running the merry-go-round.
As a matter of fact, John, his grandfather met his grandmother on a carousel. They've been going around together ever since.
Well, Mr. McCullough, I hope you're having a good summer. You're getting some idea of how mine's going tonight. Thanks very much. Nice to have you with us in West Carolina. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from our sponsor. And now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which my friends on the panel blindfold themselves. Blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes, indeedy.
Good. Will you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? In this case, a different form of questioning, one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise, and we will begin with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you a curvaceous movie star?
Yes.
Mr. Cerf.
Is there only one mystery guest this evening?
Yes.
Miss Francis.
Are you a curvaceous movie star that is playing in a picture at the present time? No.
That's one down and 9 to go, Mr. Allen.
Have you ever appeared opposite either Clark Gable or Tyrone Power?
Clark Gable or
Tyrone Power.
Tyrone Power.
Yes.
Miss Kilgallen.
Do you travel under a passport that is not a United States passport?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Would you describe yourself as more as a dramatic star than a comedian?
I would say, Bennett, if I may answer that, both areas would pretty well match out. I'd say our star has played both comedies and serious drama, but does equally well with both. Miss Francis?
Are you a sinewy blonde? For the most part. Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Have you ever worked in musicals?
Yes.
Miss Kilgallen?
Are you about to play, or have you just started to play, because I've been out of town, a very famous role on the Broadway stage?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Why, Ginger?
Have you... Oh, she isn't here. Are you, by any chance, related to somebody who is also a star in entertainment world?
Yes.
Miss Francis?
Related to. Would that be a husband? Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Do you perform opposite your husband or with him?
Do you perform with your husband or opposite your husband?
Professionally.
Sometimes.
Miss Kilgallen?
Boy, I'm dead. Golly, may I assume that you are not Mrs. Steve Allen?
May you assume that our guest is not Mrs. Steve Allen?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Cerf?
Have you appeared within the last year in a picture that has music in it?
No.
That's 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
A blonde. May I take a chance at Lana Turner?
Yeah, you may.
Is it?
No, that's 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Allen.
Somebody just wanted me to take a chance with her.
And I'd like to speak to whoever applauded. Well, they God.
Lana Turner report.
Is your husband a trumpet player?
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, go.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
Are you Betty
Yeah.
Betty Grable?
Betty Grable, right. Mrs. Harry James, and in that honorable estate for more than 20 years, right?
I really sounded rather vain answering so fast about the curvaceous thing. I didn't, that was... I've got some kind of nerve, right?
That was accurate.
You were just being honest.
You were being honest and also were helping me because you didn't want me to have to answer it for you, so you answered yourself. And I think probably that most people would have turned to me and said, well, you answer it, and you didn't.
Well, I should have done that. That would have been...
There's only
nice.
one thing that Miss Betty did say when you asked if she was a sinewy blonde. She said, I'm not sinewy. I said, well, sure you are.
And And also the dramatic thing threw me a little. That, I don't know about that.
Oh, I think both. You played serious in comedy roles, or you played in pictures in which you were basically a comedian, but there was a good serious character to it at the same time.
It was so basically always musical, you know, that it's hard to distinguish.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, you're beautiful anyway. That's it.
But don't you give me trouble. You know, they'll attack me on this.
Weren't you in that picture, The House of the Seven Grables?
Oh, dear me. Oh, dear me. 2 daughters, not 7 Grables. Sorry there, old boy.
I'm so delighted to be here. I'm such an avid viewer. I mean, really, every week it's a must. I must watch the show.
Oh,
We
well,
thank you, Bennett.
we do thank
Really, I
you
mean
very
that.
much. Thanks a lot for giving us a Sunday. Overall, you've done very well so far tonight, panel. We'll give you some congratulations, and we'll have another contestant after this word. And now to meet our final contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Norma Gorman, right? All right. Is it Miss or Mrs.?
Mrs.
And where are you from, Mrs. Gorman?
From Wyckoff, New Jersey.
Wyckoff, New Jersey. Nice to have you with us. May I present the panel? And now would you join me over here? We'll let the folks in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, we can tell you that Mrs. Gorman is self-employed and deals in a product, and we'll begin with Steve Allen.
Is it a product that men and women can use?
Yes.
I see. Does it cost less than $5?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
I'm going to get a yes. Does it cost more than $5?
Yes, it does.
Would I be likely to have one of these things, do you think?
You might.
Would any of the gentlemen be likely on this panel to have?
I think so.
They could.
Is it solid rather than liquid?
Yeah, it is solid.
Yes.
Well, could I hold it in my hand if I had it?
No.
No. 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Gorman, has this product ever been alive?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
Mrs. Gorman, is it a product we'd keep in the house?
You could.
Yeah,
Yes.
you could.
There are those that might. But the place that the product is usually seen is out of doors?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Is it a product that is, has any relaxing qualities?
Yes.
Could you sit on it?
Yeah.
But that isn't what it is designed for.
No.
No. But it is large enough so that you could sit on it.
Yes.
Would it be in the garden of a house? Could it?
Yes.
Could be.
Is it a, does it hold anything?
Yes, it does.
Could it hold water?
Yes.
Is it some kind of an either fountain or bird bath or swimming pool?
Yes.
It's one of those?
Very good. I'm going to throw all the cards over. Don't say any more. That's very good because Mrs. Gorman sells swimming pools.
Oh, good.
Yes, this is it. She's the head of the Ray Westdyke Swimming Pools Incorporated in her hometown. It's a business her husband started, and she's won for 4 straight years the sales prize, haven't you, for selling as a great swimming pool seller. That'll get you. Thank you very much. Nice to have had you with us. Actually, I should have added that Mrs. Gorman sells the Buster Crab pool. We all remember Buster Crab, one of the great swimmers of all time. Steve, it's very nice to have had you with us again, and panel, with your permission, since I seem to have used all the time, I'll say farewell for all of us on this lovely, warm summer night, and thanks to all of you for being with us on What's My Line?